Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on Wednesday, June. I almost said July. Okay. It's June 22nd. That's 2/2/2022. Gesundheit, Ernie. That's Ernie Moreno, foodindustryrecruiter.com. He's
Hello.
like, I don't know if he's the Prince or the Barney of the show because he's always dressed. He's always dressed
Barney.
in purple.
Bring back Barney.
Which Barney animal? Which Barney? The How I Met Your
The
Mother
dinosaur.
Barney
The
or
dinosaur.
Barney the
one?
That was
dinosaur.
probably before your time. I don't know.
No, I watched
possible.
Barney the Dinosaur. I
It's
saw
possible.
that. It's good stuff.
Possible. I see these people talking all the time. Oh, the great days when I was a kid, and I wasn't a kid back then. Okay, and MarioTheRecruiter.com, the terrific. If we have to peg them with something, I would say, well, clearance jobs, defense industry clearance jobs. Is that right,
Thank you.
Mario?
Yes. We are opening another firm now that specializes in general recruiting.
Okay.
And also opening a firm in Singapore. So yeah, we're expanding.
Okay, but
slowly,
are they
for
the
sure.
Singapore job? Is that for jobs in Singapore or the U.S.?
See, we're opening another firm in the US called Ascend Recruiting. Okay.
Mhm.
That is for general IT. Okay.
Mhm. And the one in
another-
Singapore is for jobs in
It's going to be,
Singapore.
yeah, exactly.
How
Yeah,
many
global.
people work for you?
I'm expanding my team to 10 more people. So I
Wow.
have small teams, Ernie. I use very small agile teams to work with,
It's
Cool.
agile, just so you know. It's agile,
Agile,
not agile,
agile.
not agile. Okay, you want to sound like yeah, okay.
An American, yeah.
You like the Secret
agile.
Service.
You want to sound like an American, yeah. Okay, yeah. We told you that 100 times. Okay,
I know.
okay,
It's okay.
okay,
It's okay.
okay. Well, let's
Without
see.
sounding American, I place American. So
I
it's
got all this stuff from Ivan. I'll see if there's anything, Okay.
okay. Give me 1 second, eh? I'm just gonna
You
adjust my-
take your time. I can talk myself, but I've certainly got Ernie to talk with. Okay. Okay, here's a question that I thought was interesting. He lost $700 because there was some kind of change in the value of
Oh,
Swiss
okay, now
francs.
it's fine.
Yeah, thank
Now
you
it should
for
be
telling us, okay? It was a $17,000
should
fee.
be.
Quiet, okay? It was a $17,000 fee, $17,000 fee. But by the time they paid him, there was a shift in the value of the Swiss franc against the US dollar. So they paid him $700 less than he deserved, okay? And he asked, should I go back to them and tell them they owe me $700? Oh, we're talking about you, Ivan, now
Yo.
Iwan, okay.
I listen everything.
One.
I listen everything.
Okay, so $700. I say, forget the $700. Don't look petty and come back. They paid you 17,000. Don't go for the 700. Ernie, what do you say?
I agree. It's you can
It's a
mention
no-brainer.
but you should mention it to them and tell them that there was a short and get credit for being a nice guy. Don't just let it go.
It makes you look like no, that makes you look like it really does bother you, but you want to get egotistic. I'm so thin-skinned. I have to show you that I gave you a break.
Yeah, but sometimes they think you earn your money for doing nothing, and that it's all them giving to you, and you don't give back to them.
Okay. What does Mario said? It's a no-brainer. Forget it.
It's a
You
no.
go
I
back
have
and
one
tell them-
question though.
But you
I
go
have one
back and
question,
tell
though.
them, hey, I want you to know how fantastic I am.
No.
I'm not charging you that
No.
$700.
My question is this.
Maybe fantastic is too mild of a word.
My question is this. When they paid you at that moment, was it equivalent to what you were billed them? Forget the conversion ratio. Was it equivalent to what you billed them in Swiss francs?
He's not there anymore.
He's
I
there.
don't
He's
understand the
leaving.
question. I don't understand the
See,
question.
let me
but
give
I
an
assume
example.
You mean
Now,
like
let's say,
the currency? So the currency where it's coming from, it was like
yeah.
so it used like the date. Essentially, they used the like wrong exchange rate, like right. So because like I have to like make it like the exchange rate that is like at that moment, but then like 2 weeks later it was like a different one, like 2%, and it's already made the difference. 3% and a big sum.
But
it
they
makes, like, a
paid you
difference, right?
according to the Swiss franc value, correct?
They paid you according to your invoice.
Yeah.
No, not according to the invoice. So the
No, I'm
invoice
asking
is
you,
like in my currency.
Wait, forget your invoice. Your invoice should be in their currency, technically speaking.
Okay, you
So,
know what?
not
We're
really.
going. You know what? We're losing whatever
No-brainer,
audience if
no-brainer.
someone starts
Forget it.
listening to this nonsense. No, okay, we settled it. Okay,
Animal, how dare you call it nonsense? This is the
Son-
basics of our billing strategy.
Have them pay you in dollars. That's it.
Yeah, make it easy like me. I
Okay,
get
well,
dollars. So.
how do you? Yeah, well, yeah. How come they don't pay you in dollars, Ivan?
Because it was not dollars, it was another like entirely. You're assuming dollars is very
Well,
very
yeah.
offensive.
Okay, yeah.
Very
Oh, it's
offensive.
offensive.
Animal,
Oh,
one,
it's offensive.
animal,
Yeah.
one small thing. Normally, when you run a business in a country, they pay in currency that of the country.
Yeah.
So that is a
It's
risk we take.
offensive. He says it's offensive, and yet he has the nerve to post on Twitter and Facebook. People are too thin-skinned. Okay.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
This is like a
Okay.
joke.
I am joking too. Wake up. Okay. I didn't introduce him. Clang.so. He's the IT recruiter who just got cheated on his $700. But he's an IT recruiter who built his own applicant tracking system. That is his claim to fame, aside from his wonderful recruiting abilities. Okay, Ivan, I've got a lot of questions for you that you brought up. Oh, but hold on. First of all, there's a guy named, I'll mention his name, Joel Lal G. He's a funny guy, Lalgee, and he posts a lot on all social media. He said, as a headhunter, there is no better compliment than a CEO reaching out and warning me about poaching their people. Do you see that as a compliment? I find it an irritation. Anybody want to take that on?
Joel Lagi, right?
Yeah, okay, that's not the important part. The
I
important
asked
part is the boss of some company calls you up and say, hey, you don't call my people anymore, okay?
Then turn it. Then you hire you. Let me hire for you. That's the logic behind it.
Is that what you would say?
I would definitely say that.
How would you say it?
Hey, okay, I don't mind, but you better give me the orders then to ramp up your team. You either do that or I source.
I don't use recruiters. What would you say to that?
Good luck surviving in the market then.
No, would you
Simple
say,
as that.
okay, well, you better give all your people
Oh,
raises because I'm still going to be calling them. Are
It
you going to
doesn't
say?
matter. The raise doesn't matter. As the great Rich Rosen normally says, it's not about the money.
Okay,
You're working
well,
for a moron. That's it. Simple.
Ernie pointed out that Rich Rosen has branded himself so well that we all call him Super Rich, the Great Rich.
Richie Rich.
It's fun.
Rich
No, it's
Rich.
actually fun to call him that because he's pretty cool
okay.
about it. Yeah?
It's fun to have a Superman on your
Yeah,
team.
of course.
Okay, Ernie, what would you say if the CEO calls you up and say, Ernie, keep your fucking hands off my people because he might be rude, okay? What would you do?
I would say, number one, don't yell at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, I would tell you, I don't recruit, I talk to people. If there's an opportunity, they'll accept it. If not, it's a free country. So
Don't give me
now-
that double talk,
No, but
Ernie.
actually,
So,
hold on one
now,
second.
so now the question becomes, do you use recruiters? And if you use recruiters, you realize that I'm very good. So how do I get to work with your team?
You know,
And if you tell me you don't use recruiters, then I'll say, thank you very much. Have a good day.
I'm going to point out the significant
Good
thing
luck.
I think about. I've been listening to Ernie for quite a while. He talks slow, and that sort of adds some gravitas to his message. Does anybody agree with me? It's Ernie, okay?
I agree. He's
Hey.
Yoda. I
Well,
won't be
that's-
surprised if he brings
I
out
don't
a
know. I've
lightsaber
never
and goes,
seen. Okay, he talks slow. Oh, but that's natural for him. I don't talk like that natural. Hey, it's the animal. Don't push me around.
Actually,
No, that's
animal,
interesting.
if
I like
Ernie talks in a room, everyone will listen.
Maybe.
Because the way he talks, it's very controlled
Yes.
and very, very powerful the way he talks. That's why when he talks, we shut up. If you've noticed. At
Okay.
least most of the time. Except when we argue.
Ivan, what would you
He's
do
sleeping.
if the company called you up? Your picture's not clear. You know, I got this camera because of his camera, okay? But your picture's
know
not
you're
clear.
in the
But
camera.
what would you do if the boss from a company calls you up and say, keep your hands off my people, you prick?
Ivan would tell him, would you short me $7,000?
Pay your last $700.
As an example.
You like hang up the phone. Like,
What would you say?
I
Hang
don't-
up?
I don't know.
You just
I don't
hang up
know.
on them?
I don't know. There must be more context. Definitely, you don't want to have any problems with anybody, in my opinion. So solve it in the best humane way possible.
That's a non-answer, right?
I mean,
what would you do?
Animal, if someone calls you, actually will laugh because you know that it's a good way to open up and talk to them and ask them, why do you feel threatened by me calling your team?
I need these people. You're calling my people. That's not right. You're calling them on the job and talking to them about moving somewhere else. That's what they don't
I think
understand that. Okay.
The more interesting question would be what once happened to me was like we had something agreed with the company, but not really. We never placed anybody, but it was like, yeah, we could potentially work together about something which was not like, it was like 5 years ago or something like that. And then it's really happened that I didn't even recall that when we were doing like outreach, and then this person actually did that. Like they called me and said, hey, 5 years ago, we wanted to work together, so you shouldn't poach my people. And then I'm like, okay, this is like 5 years ago. You know, I understand you. Like,
buzz off, mister. Yeah.
Like,
what are you, crazy?
So it's like the question is, well, where is the cutoff, right? I mean, like let's say, so like this is quite a little bit like for me unclear. Like what? Like I mean, Ernie had this because he has.
Yeah, we got the message. Oh, we got the message. Yeah, we got the message from you. Okay.
Clients, and then when were you like, okay, yeah, I will.
We're finished. Okay, I'll move on to his next issue.
Well, before you move on,
I asked Ernie something.
Go ahead. No, wait a second. Let Mario talk. He's passionate about something.
No, I actually have seen some customers try to do this. They try to sign agreements so we don't poach with them. And that is why going forward, I think I'm going to implement a clause where if you do not hire from us within 1 year, this agreement is no more valid.
Yeah, but this is you're shooting yourself in the foot because it's like,
why not?
This agreement is not valid. What does it mean? Like it's like
if you don't hire the clause of hiring from your
1 year is too long. 1 year is too long.
Clause with the protection.
One year, it's way too long.
But
I can't put 6 months. You
Don't
can't.
you see a situation where you could maybe get job orders but not fill them yourself? They get
Yeah, that has happened multiple times to us.
Yeah, but I mean that's why you don't want to terminate the agreement. You still want to be an approved vendor.
Not terminate the agreement. I mean, the clause of hiring from them is valid for 1 year from the last hire.
Well, you could also send them something that if they're not being used, that let me get
Let me make my notes.
No. Okay. You could also just tell them something, you haven't used me in a year, so can I assume that it's like we're no longer working together? And if so, then let's terminate the contract. But let's talk first.
Okay.
Nice. I like it, Ernie. Thank you.
I'm thinking they give you a search. You say, if you hire someone from me, I'll be hands off for a certain amount of time, 6 months to a year. I'm not sure what it's going to be. And then if you're working with a big company, it's even more complicated. Is it one department? Is it the whole company? All their divisions. You got to think. But it can't be like, well, they say, yeah, we signed an agreement and they don't give you any business or they don't hire anybody, but you're not allowed to recruit from them for a year? Ernie,
actually, I had once a CEO actually admitting this to me, like literally, like totally blunt. I mean, then they did hire like 1 or 2 people or something like that, but they were really like, yeah, I signed with you because for this 1 year, I know this is when I started recruiting. I was very dumb and young. And I was like, hey, like, I mean, I thought this is like how it should be, right? Like to have like, oh, this company is so picky. Like, it's like, they're just a very good company. So it's normal. But then like after 1 year, the CEO was like, yeah, I like signed with you because I didn't want anybody getting poached. So yeah, maybe we do some, we do some,
there's got to be real hires and a time limit. Ernie wanted to talk 5 minutes ago.
I want to ask you, do you guys deal with big companies or small companies or middle-sized companies? Is there a rule that you have? Because I stay away from very large companies.
Yeah, small companies. Up to maybe 100 people, 200 people at max.
Really?
We don't go for that.
That's medium-sized company.
Nice.
Okay, I'm very small companies also. 5 people.
That's small. That's
Ernie,
small.
what's your upper size?
What was that?
What is the upper limit of company size for you?
I probably do maybe something that they'll do sales of maybe 500 million, but they're not. They have multiple plants. But if they're like a big corporation with like say Mars or some of the big candy companies or food companies, Kraft, then I'll just stay away. because I've always found that to be very frustrating. Because
Also, they must be good sources, those big companies. They've got so
yeah,
many
they're
people
good
there.
they're good sources, but they also are very they want their internal recruiters to do it, and most of the times the internal recruiters see you as if you do well with the company, then they see that
Your competition.
you made them look bad.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so what you really want are companies that don't have the resources to do what you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
small HR departments are great
Mhm.
because and then you can always make the conversation that you're an extension of their team without adding onto their
Right.
onto their
Next issue, as that's what's that guy John McLaughlin used to say. Next issue. Okay, Ivan, client red flags. He said, and I don't know if I agree with you. He said, number one, they ask so many questions, you feel like you're applying for a job. You are applying for a job in some ways. Don't you think so, Ivan? What kind of questions? What's your problem?
Yeah, there is a clear threshold. Like there's a clear threshold. Like somehow I can't really describe it, but I know I know it when I see it. Like I had this like maybe 2 times or 3 times where I was like 1 million. They asked like 1 million things, like partly totally irrelevant, you know, just
Like
to,
what?
And you see
like what? Like what? Okay, he doesn't know. He can't remember.
Actually,
Anybody else?
Yeah, actually, no, I forgot it because like I so hated that like my brain like really pushed the situation away.
Yeah, right.
So basically, it was
Because
the
you
feeling
yelled at
of
him.
getting. No, I was like, man, if I work with this, like, I'll just do retainer or something, or like, okay. After this conversation, I always had the feeling, okay, I make the terms such that actually they'll say no. Like this is like intentional because I don't want this.
Were you going to give us some
bad.
examples of the ridiculous questions they asked you? Like, you know, how much time do you take off for lunch during the workday?
Yeah, okay, like how much, like, will this, like, okay. No, I cannot. You know why? Because it's like the package. Like it's the package of like a million questions.
Does
within,
anybody
like,
want to
40
support
minutes.
him on this or move on? Is there any?
On what?
Wait,
sorry, I missed
go
it.
back to the original question. What was the question?
They ask you too many. You want to. You're doing business development. You get somebody who says they might want to deal with you, and then they start asking you a million questions. Too many questions. He said that's a red flag. He can't give one example.
No,
of what
No,
they have.
I mean, why is that a red flag? Ivan,
It's a
understand,
huge-
ask some
okay,
irrelevant
because
question.
Don't ask
time
him.
when
He
this
doesn't know. I want to know if you had that experience.
Every time when this happens, this turned to be a disaster. So I don't know. It's just a connection in like a Pavlovian way, you know, in my head.
Enter the man.
Richie!
What did I walk into? Oh my God.
A barroom
Okay,
brawl.
well, Rich, hold on. You'll sort out the answer to this. Ivan says one of the red flags from for a client is you've never dealt with them before. You get them on the phone and they start asking you a million questions, too many questions. He can't remember any of the questions. That's the only problem. Have you ever had that experience? And no.
This is at the stage where they're asking you to become a client? Or
Yeah.
You're asking them and
Yeah.
they're saying, well, maybe how do I know I want to deal with you? How do I know you're good? Okay. And they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. Have you ever been quizzed to Ernie? Like, why should I work with you, Ernie?
No, I usually just stick with a job. Like I'll find a job they're looking for and I'll ask them, I won't go generally. I'll say, you got a plant manager position in Arkansas. You need help filling it. Is there any other job? And then you talk your background.
Okay, with guys like you and Rich, these guys are bowing down before you because they've heard about you, okay? You know, they say, oh, Rich, I get to deal with Rich. Please, you can ask us questions, okay? No, Richie, Rich, people, if they don't know you, do they say, Rich, why should I work with you?
Of course they do. I mean,
do some of them ask too many questions? That's the issue here.
Not really. I mean, honestly, if you're buying, you're gonna. You know, I don't think so. I mean, I've had people. You know, I mean, I just picked up a client. I had 3 meetings with them before they hired me.
3.
Yeah.
Ivan, is that unreasonable for you?
No, this can be like it depends, right? I mean, okay, I think it's not about the number of questions, but like the intention you feel behind it, right? So some companies, I have the feeling they are like, okay, they like, you know, they need to do this, like to find like vendors or something like that. And you feel they like, there's something else. They're not actually interested in working with you. I think it's because of that. So like the action, only asking too many questions is not an issue at all. I can remember clients who asked tons of questions, but always it was the feeling of, hey, we like each other. And also I had like 3 meetings. Absolutely. I even went to the office, all that. But the intention behind, you could really feel, it's like, yes, I want to be with you. But the other like cases where I had, where it was terrible, it was also like that. Like,
okay, hold on a second. Let me say we've answered it. You're invoking the Rich Rosen rule. If you don't feel they're cooperative, walk away. Am I right? Is that what we have here?
Run away.
Run away.
I mean, the end of the day, I mean, if it's one thing, if it's asking real questions, or they're just probing to say, hey, why you? Why they're just going to be a giant pain in the ass and want to quiz and question everything you do.
That's the answer.
Yeah. I mean, if they're telling you how to do your job, not a great sign. If they're just saying, hey, why are you so expensive? Why is your warranty less? Why is this less? Why is that? That's different. Those are great questions. Those are all buying questions.
What level do you speak at, Rich?
The VP, CEO board.
And do you find that when you go lower that they ask stupider questions?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and
they don't know what they're asking. They're just asking to sound smart and to sound like authoritative usually.
And that's what I found too, that when you talk to the president will just say, hey, well, talk to my HR director. And from there, it's like you're sliding on in.
Downhill, yeah.
I mean, when you talk to your HR director, it's because he's told them or she's told them to call, and that's a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything else. The lower the level role, the bigger the yes.
Sorry, I have a question. Now, let's say you send an email out, all right, and you send it to CEO, and the CEO says, "I've passed it on to my HR guy, who coordinates it." Okay, and that guy gets back to me saying, "We are all good for now." Okay, what would be your strategy normally?
Well, you would probably look at their website and you'd say, "Well, you got."
Oh, they have tons of open jobs. That goes. I know
you got this job and that job, but you go after a specific job.
Yeah,
you kind of make it easy for them. Because if you get them just a general job, they're like all over the place. Oh, I don't remember. And I had one where they told me, I said, well, what about this one particular job? And they go, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Why don't you talk to my director and they'll set you up, hook it up with them.
No. Okay. You're saying to go back to them with that, this position is
okay,
open,
but did you have to track their website to see how long the job has been open in order to?
You'd go to their website, you'd go to their LinkedIn, and you'd go to their Indeed and just find a job that you like. But if you don't see anything, then don't bother with them right there.
Okay, now let's say you see 25 different openings.
Then you pick one you like, the highest paying.
All right.
And then you try to, but your goal is really to have a conversation with them and to make a connection with them.
All right, I sent a stinker.
Yeah, I haven't had another red flag that I think is valid.
But I would also mention, I don't email them first. I just call them.
Okay, it was like a email chain, and I called him, and he said, "I'm busy. Call me back later." Okay, fine, cool.
Can I? Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay,
it's your show.
No, I see it as a group effort. Okay, awesome. So they keep promising that they'll give you lots of assignments. Okay, that's a hustler who's doing that, right?
Yep. That's recruiting 101. That's the first trap every recruiter falls into. Oh, give me a discount. I'll give you 20 openings. Never works out.
Can't we say that we'll give the discount on the 20th opening? They fill.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's exactly what you do. When you get the 20, great.
Yeah, give you a free opening on 20.
I mean, I gotta tell you, my favorite thing now, I think I said this a while ago, but is when it comes to the warranty stuff, is telling clients, listen, I don't like, I always ask them, if you can explain to me why, because he's like, oh, I just had this the other day. He's like, everyone else is giving us 90 days, 120 days. And I was like, great, you should probably use them then. Probably take you longer to fill it. But I mean, if you want, if you can explain to me why it's my fault that someone else who made all these decisions, does all these parameters, is going to be my fault, I'm happy to do it. I mean, no one in 27 years has been able to explain it to me, but if you can, I'll do it. I'll give you 90 days. And they laugh because they know they can't do it. And then I say, listen, this is what I do. I give people insurance because that's essentially what you're looking for. And I give you 10%, if you want an extra 30 days, it's an extra 10% of the fee. You want an extra 60 days, it's an extra 20% of the fee. And I got all my clients doing this now.
20% of the overall fee, Rich, or just the?
It's 10% upfront of if like the fee is going to be, if the fee, we assume it's going to be 50, like this is on an engaged search. So it was like a $52,000 fee or $50,000 fee. So now the fee is 55 grand, you know?
Okay.
That's a
You
good
know,
idea.
that's
I like
nice.
that.
I like that. I actually haven't thought of it that, but thank you.
But I also tell them too, this is, and I mean this too. I said, I'm just not just hot air, but I say, listen, you're actually the last client I'm giving even the 30 days to, because I'm like, it's insurance. And that's all we're looking for. You would fire your rep if he gave, money back, replaced, or did whatever for something he had no control over. But yet, why would you ask a vendor to do it? So, but it's a fun conversation.
It's really funny how it's always been done that way in the business.
Yep.
And no one's willing to change the rules, or they just think it goes the same way. That's what you're supposed to do.
Oh.
And when you hear somebody say, well, give him 10% or 15%, I talked to a friend yesterday who said, well, the guy gave me a name. My client gave me a name, said, could you call him up? Because I don't want to get my nose stuck in recruiting this guy. So he called him. He says, I call him up. I have a meeting set up. Right off the bat, I'm going to offer him a 10% discount. And I said, why? And he said, I said, just charge him what you should charge him. That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference. And I said, and he says, yeah, but he did a third of the work. I go, give him.
I agree with your friend. Okay.
No, but I said, giving me a name is not a third of the work. The work is actually.
Yeah, he gave you a referral. He gave you the candidate.
Yeah, but
No, it's not about the name. It's about attracting them to the job.
Yeah, because he said that, and he said, I called him 5 times. I couldn't get a hold of him. Finally got a hold of him. And I'm meeting with him tomorrow. We're probably going to maybe something will happen.
Ivan, are you with me or Ernie and these other guys?
I don't know.
Okay.
No opinion.
He abstains. Okay. Okay. So, the final thing you've done so far on those red flags, you took a long time for you to clarify what the real problem was with the first one. The second one, everybody's with you. Okay. The third one is they want to push their terms on you. Do you have any examples that come to mind? Like, is it like a 2 years guarantee or something like that? Is it?
No, we have just a standard like term sheet, and there is like they do not even move 1 millimeter from it. This is like horrible. I mean, having their own terms, if there's like a bigger company and they have mainly recruiting agencies, I understand like that they have their terms checked by their lawyers. I totally get that part. But like if you are like a premium like vendor, if you have something more to offer than the majority of the market, and then they still do not give you like 2% better fee or like some small thing, this is.
Well, that's because you're dealing with HR. Why? I mean, if you're dealing with a big company and you're stuck in their trap, that's the problem. Unless you get the executive to sign off on it, that's why. What's the point?
Yeah, that's the actual red flag. That's what I'm talking about in this post. If like the one who makes the decision is even like that kind of like, no, this is how we do things, then forget about it.
If you're dealing with the procurement side, it's a mess.
But when it gets stupider is when you're dealing with the head of HR and then they give it to their attorney. And it's like their attorney has to change things.
Ernie, it gets worse when they hand over to the procurement side. Oh, they are a mess, man. They're like the pennies and cents.
That's why it's better to deal with the smaller companies.
Yeah, that sounds like the solution because there's more flexibility in a smaller company. Is that am I right about that? Is that the answer to that question?
Yep.
But it depends on the CEO. Some guys are morons.
Okay. Do you want to know how Ivan psychs himself up?
He looks excited right now.
It's not listening to music. Here's what he says.
Looking at himself in the mirror.
He says, I don't like recruiting, but when I think about the freedom it gives me, I feel happy. Am I right about that? Yeah. Okay.
I sometimes do like recruitment, but like many parts of this job is, hard. Everybody agrees here. Like, there's no doubt.
Hey, come on.
I'm just honest.
I shouldn't say this on camera, but actually this job is one of the best jobs on the planet, okay?
It is.
Believe me, you can make as much money as a doctor without half the effort. Okay.
You can make more money than a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. More money than a doctor. Yeah, I'm making more money than most doctors here.
Yeah,
so
and
I'm chilled out about
end of
it.
the day is there's not, in a year from now, we'll see how fun it is. But the moment though, it's never been better. The last, bulk of the last 20 years.
Rich, to be very honest, business has ups and downs. Okay. We need to go through everything.
Of course.
If you're in this in the long term,
This year's a good year. This year's a good year.
This year's
Whereas
been a great
people
year.
are always sick. The doctor's always got a steady flow of,
That's the
Yeah,
difference. I have an ongoing argument with a buddy of mine who's a endodontist, like a dental surgeon basically, and he worries about his candidate flow. This guy's a best of Boston doctor. He's an amazing guy. He and his wife both are endodontists, and there's not many of them. So I mean, they constantly have business, but he worries just like all of us about business coming and going. And I'm like, when is the last time you saw a good dentist go out of business? I mean, maybe in England, I don't know, but but it's
Wow, that's a great example, man.
but I mean, this job, you definitely ebb and flow if you don't stay on top of it. So, but in now, you might as well make it rain while you can. So,
what's interesting is when people start complaining about all the hours they got to put in, but yet at the same time they're working for somebody.
Yeah,
and they don't have control over their own lives, and they complain about that as recruiters, and for an agency, whether it's for an agency or corporate.
Ernie, people don't want to put in the effort and the time to grow, to become something in life. That's a fact. They expect the easy way out.
Another thing I noticed was that when someone says, I've been recruiting for 10 years and I'm looking for a job.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is, well, you should start your own business. Just you can have any job.
I don't want to go there right now, but hold on a second. Ernie, I wanted to ask you a question about that. You don't say, like Ivan said, I don't really like recruiting that much, but like you just indicated, you love the idea of working for yourself and having that freedom. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that is a psych up for you. It's an inspiration for you as well. But you am I right about that?
I agree. I mean, I worked in the corporate world for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And it was bullshit, and now I make more money. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. If my wife wants to go to lunch, we go to lunch. If we, I shape my own hours. I can move things around. If I have to work till 11 o'clock at night, I'll work till 11 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. It's no biggie. Get up at 5, go back to sleep at 8 if you want.
Okay. I think we'll have a fight with Ivan's next issue. Okay.
See, but Ivan is into his ATS, though. That's what he wants. Yeah. He wants that easy money.
Yeah, okay. But this is different. Ivan said, it's kind of vague, so I'm quite willing to drop this, though. He said,
I think it's a difference between European and American mindset. Like generally we are here more about complaining, right? I mean, I also kind of hate going to the gym, right? Still, I do it like for decades, right? So it's like a little bit of I think it's also this.
That was like Galvin. Did you read Gavin's thing today? Like Johnson?
Yeah, I did. In fact, I've got your whole answer here as part of the script. Go ahead.
I must read this.
Read it.
No, he was just stating like, I mean, I didn't read all his, I got ADD. I can't read all his garbage, but, it's got some good stuff, but it was, the amount of hours someone works. And I'm like, you can.
Okay, Rich, yours, I'll read yours. I copied yours, Rich. I'll read it out right now. Although, okay, it's not, Rich says, if you want to be rich, okay. Didn't say rich like me. He just rich in general. He said,
I'm going to change my first name to Rich.
Yeah. He said, it's not about the amount of hours you work. It's how you work. Okay. If you want to make $100,000 and you're working 90 hours a week, you got a problem there. If your goal is $1 million a year, you got to work nights. He says, I coach my kids' sports. I take months of vacation every year while billing at a high level, about 100 placements in 18 months. And you know why? Because I focus on a niche and I plan and I only work with clients who want to work with me. I don't chase clients and act desperate for work. No one likes a needy salesperson, but here's the killer at the end. He says, I work till 11 o'clock every night, researching and planning while watching TV. So at the beginning, he says, the hours worked is not the issue. You got to work smart. And then in the very last sentence of a long speech, I work till 11 o'clock every night. Okay.
No, listen, one, I got to tell you, love the delivery. Delivery is awesome. But at the end of the day, the whole point is you got to put the hours in. I don't want to make $100,000. I can do that. But doing how I do it, what do I miss out on? This is the biggest conversation I have with people about what people think you miss out on. There's absolutely nothing I miss. All right. I don't go to the movies on a Tuesday night. I'm like, I don't know any adult that actually goes to a movie on a random Tuesday night. If you're actually a sales or business professional, you're doing something of value. So at the end of the day, if you're want to make money, I sit in front of my TV. My wife sits in my office, and we watch TV, and I do work. What the hell's the difference? Like, what do you? What I don't understand what people do. But
How
if
My
someone
wife
says
older are
is
your
very
kids?
they're teenagers, 16 and 18.
Yeah.
But
They
it's
don't even
like,
want to be around you.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and once they're 12, they don't want to be around you. So who cares? But if someone says, hey, listen, Anil, I'm going to give you $40,000 if you go find someone. Let's see, I can sit on my ass and do nothing, or I can actually plan and make $40,000 tomorrow. Or you know what I could do? I could do that 5 times a month to make 200 grand a month, every fucking month. I'm like, I don't understand. If you're in the business, be in the business. If you're not in the business, don't be in the business.
But, and the other part too is you got to be reading, listening, podcasts, learning all the time.
That's it.
And I go to the store, and as I'm driving to the store, which is probably maybe 5 miles away, I have a podcast on. I don't have music on. I don't have anything else. I'm listening to stories about business and about how to recruit, and they're fun to listen to.
Yeah. I mean, but think about it. It's like I didn't get his whole thing because I didn't read his whole giant thing. But it's like, if someone said you can make 100 placements a month, or 100 placements, whatever that amounts to a month, why would you not put the effort in? I mean,
Rich, I have a statement to make. See, he's a recruiting trainer, so he's trying to break into the game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but he also
So
says
that's
he
the-
makes
that's
$1
the
million.
marketing
He
speed.
says he makes $1 million a year as well.
I'll tell you one thing. Okay, he
Which-
might make $1 million. Good for him. But if he was making $1 million, why would he want to be a trainer? That's
I
my
don't know,
question.
maybe.
Who the hell wants to train people when you can bill $1 million? You think I'm stupid to
but-
train someone?
but he's also doing more staffing, and it's not profit.
True.
So I mean, I don't know what his numbers are, but he's doing more staffing, which
Oh, you mean he bills $1 million, not
Yeah.
grosses, not
I mean, I
nets
have
$1
no
million
idea.
himself.
See,
Yeah, I have
in
no idea what
staffing,
it's about.
it's contracting, so it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what the markups are.
No, I
and
think
even
he's
still,
staffing, yeah.
but even still, think about that. If he planned his, that's what I put in that thing too. If he spent 3 hours a night planning while he's watching TV, he billed 2 million then. I mean,
I have something to say here, okay?
What
I
do you have?
think the key is not planning. I think it's being Rich Rosen, okay? No, really, we talked about it. Ernie came early and we were talking before we turned on the recording. And I just said, it's your manner. You can confront people, okay? Just like you talked about how you would deal with those confrontational CEOs. So what? And I'll tell them exactly, you know what? I'm not giving you that deal, but you don't say it like I do. You're still their buddy, or, it's not a big deal. With me, I'm ready to fight. I don't like it if I think I'm gonna.
The animal bears his fangs.
yeah. I mean, honestly, but people want what they can't have half the time. And, today, this may be different in a month or two, but who knows? But still today, there's so much business to be had. Why give in? Why, and if you do, you tell them up front, listen, I can throw it on the pile.
So when you say planning, hold on, that means going through LinkedIn and sourcing candidates and then writing their names into your ATS or something.
Yeah, I build my
like
list and the admin will go put them in the database.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got an admin, everybody.
I've
Okay,
had that
he's
for
got
you.
help.
For a whopping 20 hours a week, 5 hours a day, 4 hours a day, whatever it is.
That's a
But-
lot
but-
off your back.
But
Okay.
what it amounts to is a system.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to create a system for themselves at work.
Yeah, correct.
And
I
on top of
agree.
it, as I listen to Rich, it's like you got to have confidence, you got to be open, and you got to just have a sense of humor. You got to smile. You got to make it like you're happy.
Well,
And if they want to go away, it's cool. You can
Yeah,
go.
I don't need you. He's happy. I don't need you.
Yeah,
He's
that's-
happy about it. He's
I'm
not
not-
mean about it. That's
I'm
it.
not-
I'm
I'm
happy about it.
Yeah, listen, there's no reason to piss anyone off. Your goal is, the goal is never for me to reject them. It's always for them to reject me, quite frankly, because then I can still go back to them. Maybe I was too expensive. I outpriced myself. What can I tell you? Hey, we got a new price now.
And then tomorrow you may not be too expensive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when they're too desperate, they'll come back. I mean, they do
Yeah.
sometimes. But the end of the day is I find the number one problem that most recruiters run into, and the difference between myself and, big biller types, you always have a constant flow of jobs. Like most recruiters, they get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 jobs. And they're like, oh my God, I got too much. I can't take any more on. And then all of a sudden they fill them, they lose them, and then they get nothing. And then they start from scratch again. Then next month they get a couple more jobs. And then like, oh shit, I get lost them all again. Or I closed one and lost 4, whatever it may be. And so they're always on this roller coaster. They're not consistent. They forget to market. They don't have the dross. Companies aren't coming to them, whatever it may be. That's one of the biggest problems I see in recruiters, and the difference in billing, 100, 200 grand and $1 million is having consistency.
Ivan, did you want to say something? You've been very quiet. Okay, I'm
No.
just checking in. You don't have to talk.
I will rewatch this. Like I'm marking the timestamp so I can.
Okay, well, I should really. I haven't been editing, but I should do it.
But
Anybody else want to?
Let me ask Rich one other question. Rich,
Yeah, go ahead.
in terms of marketing, do you market? People say you got to market clients, or do you do that?
I mean, I don't, but
I thought you said you do. You take most placeable person and you do business development with
when
them.
I do market, yeah. But I mean, in the last
It's
year,
not an everyday thing like some people say.
no, I mean,
Oh yeah, I forgot. They're rich. Hey,
yeah, I mean, in a normal market, that was a very good Rodney Dangerfield look. That was great. In a normal market, I probably do heavy duty marketing, twice a year for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And then I definitely, the benefit of doing this for so long, I get a lot of referrals. I get a lot of inbound, mostly are good clients, or I weed them out. So
well, Rich, then, if you got so many people just by your own reputation getting referrals, why was it so important for you to get on that Forbes list? He's number 11, everybody, of top recruiters in America. Okay.
Dude,
That was
yeah,
that was a big deal for him. How come?
really nothing purely other than marketing.
Well, do you tell people,
Social
hey,
proof.
I want you to know who I am. I'm number 11. Okay.
100%. I tell them it's the highest ranking solo recruiter on the list. It's
You actually go out, you tell people that?
yeah. What do I care?
What is it when they're doing all the questioning, like
Yeah.
Ivan was complaining about? They say, Rich, why should I work with you? I'm number 11, pal.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay?
literally, I did this the other day. I'm like, the guy's like, why should I work with you? I'm like, you don't have to, but I'm like, there's very few people you're going to find that are better than me. I'm like, and not to be obnoxious, but I've been placing sales guys for 27 years. I'm like I'm the highest ranked solo guy in the country, according to Forbes.
You see, and right there, that example, it gives you the confidence, it's open, and it is humor.
There's no desperate, there's no, oh my God, please work with me. I need the money so bad. It's whatever. Listen, do what you got to do. But this is how I work. And I tell them flat out, I tell them, listen, I tell them up front, I reject more clients than most recruiters probably take on in a year.
See,
Yeah.
but how come it doesn't, when he says it, Ernie, it's not like, I don't need you, you jerk, okay?
Because you
But
say
it
it
is, I don't need you, but I'm happy about it. I'm happy.
It's the ability to wordsmith. It's the ability to use everything.
it's you know what it is? It's like everyone can say, we all know people that can say things that sound great coming from their mouth, but sounds ridiculous
Yeah,
coming
you
from your
see,
mouth.
you don't sound like Clint Eastwood.
No.
I'm gonna blow your fucking head away, He never sounds like that. He never like
The John Belushi. You be John Belushi.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
know what I
he's-
mean? Like
exactly.
for me, like I still live in a complete fear of failure, no matter how successful I've been or whatever. I feel like the world's coming to an end tomorrow every day. I mean, just like you're never gonna have enough business, you're never gonna have this. So you know what? I'm not rude to people, I'm not obnoxious about it, but I just tell them the truth. And you do it in a way that's that just shows that you're not, you're
See, he says he's got a fear of failure, but he doesn't sound afraid. That's so bizarre to me. I don't get
No,
it.
it's done in a way that creates trust and a foundation to go forward.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Perfect way to put it. I mean, because it's like, listen, this is how I work. I only work with people that I like and the people that want to be a partner. I don't work with vendors. And you have that conversation. And, doing that, eliminating the dead wood makes you successful. The guy that needs to work, and I did this early in my career, so I know from experience, the guy or girl, whatever, that goes and chases and feels like they've got to work in every single deal that comes their way will never win. They won't, because you're going to work on garbage. You're going to chase your tail half the time then.
And you have to understand that today, when you call somebody, your name will appear on their phone.
Mhm.
It's at that point that person looking at your name will decide, do I want to talk to him, or is it somebody's going to be a pain in my ass?
Yeah.
Or is it somebody's going to make me, I like talking to him.
Yeah.
And they'll pick it up based on the fact that it's Rich Rosen. I'll talk to him. He's a cool dude.
Yeah. I mean, and what people also, I mean, I think what I do, and I know a lot of other good recruiters do, is they try to educate. Like good salespeople are teachers or educators. They're not just, desperate to get your, your money, desperate to get your time. It's like, listen, this is what I know. This is what I can tell you. Let me help you with your resume. Let me help you with this. When guys talk too long, I slow them down. I tell them, listen, whoa, just stop. It's not even point of interviewing if you're going to talk this long. It's obnoxiously funny because Ernie says, I give a little chuckle at the end of it and people don't get offended. They usually thank me because they didn't realize, especially those from Texas who talk forever, they appreciate it because I'm like, if you're in the Northeast and you're talking to a guy from New York, he's going to just say, you know what, go fuck yourself and hang up. He's like, I don't have time for a 20-minute answer, but if no one tells them these things, they don't know they're doing it wrong.
And you got to also realize that the people we're talking to are under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
They're always under a lot of stress. And you can be that moment of relief for them. And you play that role. And plus, a lot of times they don't have anybody to vent with. And if you can get to the point where they're venting with you and just telling you how shitty their day is, then you have a good relationship.
Ernie, Rich just said, if they start to crying on his shoulder,
That's different.
he's going to tell them to hit the
That's
road.
not what I said. That's not what I said. You have to play a part like Isaac the bartender, Remember the Love Boat? You had to list Isaac and listen to all their problems and make him a drink. That's part of the job. But it's one thing listening to complain about it. It's another thing helping them turn it around into actually usable information and then how to phrase, hey, why you made these changes. Like I talked to a guy this morning. He's like, oh my God, my boss was horrible the last 3 jobs. I'm like, well, what do you think the common denominator was between the last 3 jobs then? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, yourself, you're the problem. I'm like, you can't tell clients that you've had 3 bad bosses in a row because they're going to say, well, I'm probably number 4 then. So you help them rephrase how they're going to, attack that issue and how they're going to deal with it.
Or even how to evaluate their own staffing. Like, I'm doing all the work. Well,
yeah.
Don't you have this person under you? Yeah, but I said, do you need to replace them? You're probably right.
Yeah.
Then what are we going to do?
Yeah, well, that's it. If you don't have to, there's always ways to figure out, there's always another solution in this world, at least
I got a question for Ivan because he was talking, advising somebody about the same issue you just talked about. He said, call people up, talk to them for 5 minutes on the phone. I can't remember what about this. And so one woman said to you, Ivan, she said, yeah, but it always turns into a 30-minute call. And you said, just hang up after 5 minutes. Is that what you do? I was going to ask you how exactly you do that. I don't believe that you just hang up, or you say, my wife is calling me, I got to go, or I got to walk the dog.
You call yourself from your cell phone,
Yeah. How do you get off the phone in 5 minutes if the person is talking to you, Ivan?
Just say that you have to go. Like, what's the problem?
Okay, it would be nice to see the conversation we're actually talking about.
You got him off the phone there.
Yeah, scared him
Just
away.
like that, just like you did.
Okay. Rich was advising someone how to talk in an interview, which is kind of different. Okay.
But it's different and it's not, because the end of the day is, if they're going to ramble on to me, it's one thing venting about your problem. I'm like, they're not going to go on for 20 minutes venting about a problem. They got to.
You can have a conversation.
Yeah, there's a handful of minutes, and that we'll talk about that. But if I ask a question like, "Hey, tell me about your quota," and I get a story about their great grandfather till today, it's not going to happen. It's like, listen, we gotta give me the numbers. If you can't give me, like sales guys, if you can't give me a straight number, you're probably lying to me. So you got to cut them down. You got to make sure they realize they got 30, maybe 45 seconds to give an answer. Otherwise, they're dead in the water. And I mean, that's one of the 2 biggest reasons I hear from clients: candidates either rambled or candidates are unprepared. They didn't go through the website or things like that. And that's what you tell them. So that way they listen to you and they don't think you're being a jerk by just saying, hey, they're talking too much. But here's actual, advice from clients on what they're hearing. So then they actually listen to you.
And before you send them on their interview, you should give them all your information.
Of course.
Like, this is what I told them about you. This is what I told them your salary is going to be. So and you put it in an email and you send it to them. so they don't come up with some stupidity like they told you 150,000, but then they talk to the client and they want 200,000. You go, whoa, no, you said 150.
Usually it's the client being the moron about the salary, and you got to be careful with the salary stuff too.
No, but I mean, the client has to be, the candidate has to be pretty consistent with what you told them and you told the client.
But that comes during the whole process as you're going through these different stages. You got to be finding out if that came up, and
that's why I say you have to have a process in which you do all this if you're going to be successful. If you're just throwing them out there, it can happen.
Yep.
I got some housekeeping that I forgot. I wanted to wish Michael G. Cox, our good friend, good luck. His wife is ill, and that's why he hasn't been coming. I wanted to advise Mario the Recruiter, since I see he puts Mario the Recruiter as his name, put MarioTheRecruiter.com so people can use that to find you. Okay, that makes sense. That's
I'm changing my whole branding. I told you earlier.
I don't have to remember what you said from one week to the next.
Can I ask you?
Let
me ask you a question. Branding for recruiters. Does anyone think it actually matters? Do you know anyone's branding?
No. Rich, I'll tell you something. Listen, I'll explain to you why. Okay, I have a firm that specializes in DoD and government-based positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, for that, the messaging is totally different. The pain points are very different. Okay, and for the general IT recruiting, which I've opened another firm for. Okay, the pain points are very different also. Though they may link, there are some differences that are key when you work with the firm, work in the business. You get it, right? Like
I know a million recruiting firms. I don't know anyone with branding.
Okay, you know what? Hold on a second. This is the guy who ran for the Forbes list like he was running for president. And tells everybody, hey,
only I need to.
But do you? I don't consider that branding. I consider. I mean, maybe it's a semantics. I don't consider it branding. Like I'm going for I honestly, I haven't even put it on my website yet, to be honest with you, that whole thing. So, but I don't consider that branding. I just part of marketing. And I know it's similar.
Yeah, it's part of marketing, actually, to be precise. You're right.
Yeah.
It's marketing.
Yeah.
It's not branding.
Yeah. I mean, like everyone markets to get their name out there, but there's other people that are like, like, who is it? Joe Mullen. She loves to, do branding, I suppose.
Spends $500,000 a year on it.
He spends more. He spends more. He spends $500,000 a month on it, for Christ's sake. But good for him. Whatever.
How much does he make? What is the ROI? 500 million?
It's not much.
He does okay.
But I just think like everyone talks about branding. Like marketing is one thing. You put your name out there, you post jobs, post your ads, whatever. But the branding, I guess, is part of it. But when you're, does anyone know any recruiter that stands out? Quite frankly,
that are not a trainer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean people.
There are people who say they post a lot on LinkedIn, and they say people call them after they see their articles or their postings on LinkedIn.
But is that? I mean, I guess that's branding. I don't know. I guess
it's marketing 101. I mean, now let me tell you why. The reason is very simple. The messages are very different. The process is the same. The messages matter.
Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying.
I don't know what you're talking
about. Mario the Recruiter, I don't know what you're talking about. I'll give you the last word.
I just have a quick question. Mario the Recruiter, what made you decide, being a foreigner, to go after the DoD?
He's not a foreigner in his own country, though.
I'll tell you why. Okay. I mean, it's not just DoD. It's because that's what we learned. What I've worked with for so long.
They don't deliver.
So
what? I always just it's an interest. DoD. I mean, I do Fed stuff occasionally too. It's just they can be long and arduous. The Fed.
Yeah, it is.
And very narrow niche.
True. I mean, the reason it could be recession proof at times. I mean, and that's why I'm also setting up another one in general IT, which I'm going to focus on more going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to tell everybody, MarioTheRecruiter.com, check him out. Here's a guy, I'm very impressed by him. I like his manner as well, but I've got a final issue, okay? I read an article this week, and it started out with this line: recruiting is riddled with gender discrimination. And I always wonder if I am living in a bubble, because I don't gender discriminate. I just want to play somebody, if they've got the skills. I'm not going to say, it's they're this gender, they're that gender, but North America is a big place, let alone the whole world. Maybe it's different in different places. Would anybody agree with that straight out? Recruiting is riddled with gender discrimination. Is this something we shouldn't really talk about?
Does
No, we
that
can
mean
talk about it.
We can get
does that mean
nailed.
recruiters are recruiters, or does that mean recruiting to the company?
Yeah, exactly. Ernie's question.
What does Ernie mean? I don't know.
Good recruiters are only bringing what the company's looking for,
Yeah.
you know, if you're good.
Okay.
How can we discriminate?
So I don't,
Hey, we
I
want our
don't think,
fee.
think there is. I mean, exactly. You know, we can't, I mean, the end of the day is the diversity issue is there's not enough women or minorities. So the vast majority are still white guys.
See,
You know,
the-
it's
the-
not,
the-
it's not
Okay,
a.
let's not talk about white
No,
guys. Let's
I
do it.
have a
Well,
statement
you're
to
not
make. I have a
biased.
statement to make.
Wait,
Well,
hang on. It's not bias. It's just the facts of the numbers.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, see, most of the people, if you see the statistics of those who choose the STEM system, education.
Okay, you know
Okay,
what? We
it's mostly
shouldn't
the
get
guys,
into this.
not the women.
I knew I just
You
wanted
get
to
all
see if
uncomfortable.
anybody.
You started
I
it.
gotta tell you, yeah, I did start it and I'm responsible, but if we say something quite
call it the way I
honestly,
see it.
someone could say, oh, you know, well, come after us for a ridiculous
So
thing.
let them come after us. What's the worst
No,
they
no,
can do?
you-
We can
trust
help
me,
each
you
other.
don't want to be branded like that, okay?
You know
Especially
what?
working
You're
for the government.
You are the only show that has diversity on it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
100%
Yeah.
true. Multiple corners in the world.
We were
Multiple
accused of
people.
not being
We're
diverse
like the
enough,
goddamn
okay?
UN animal corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many shows that you
How
have
many shows have
We
Canadians
should-
on them?
How many
Guys, we
You know,
should form a UN for recruiters,
And
okay?
this
United
everybody-
Nations for recruiters.
and
You and
how-
I-
Ivan,
You
last
and
word. Give Ivan the last word. He hasn't said
Oh, that
anything.
was good. Like Alvin and the Chipmunks. That was good. Do that again.
Okay, I'll reintroduce everybody as we part. Ernie Moreno, foodindustryrecruiter.com, cornerstonesearch.com, number 11. You know, they're going to retire that sweater when Rich when Rich goes down. MarioTheRecruiter.com. He's got businesses sprouting up all over, and Klang.so, KLANG.so. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.